It's no surprise to anyone when I say RPGs are my personal favourite genre. I just love a game that is more than just a collect the things, shoot the things adventure. Compelling storylines, character development, saving the world on the grandest scale. Being able to dedicate hours to a thing like this feels like reading a fantasy fiction novel, except that you're actually in it. There are many successful franchises out there, with multiple entries spreading into double figures, and I don't need to name them. Of course, that's really just scratching the surface of what the RPG world has to offer. Many libraries have standalone titles hidden amongst the Final Fantasies and Dragon Quests of this world, and that's what we come across with Lenar's Knight Quest. You are a wannabe Knight of the Realm, 14-year-old Will, who pleads with his king to be allowed to undertake peril in search of fame and fortune, and other such hackneyed things. He acquiesces on the condition that you can return from the northern cave having slain a goblin. He gives you a sword, some armor, and a generous supply of gold. Once out in the big wide world, actually it's quite small in Knight Quest, you have a choice of going north or west. Are you gonna do what the king told you and head north? You'd better, because the monsters lurking to the west are much stronger and will kill you as soon as look at you. Grinding is present in most RPGs, but here it's not as necessary to hammer it as in other games. You'll level up pretty quickly. Press select to see the player status screen, which shows you your inventory, weapons, armor, gold, and XP. All the usual RPG systems, such as combat, exploration, leveling up, etc., are about the simplest I've ever seen. This is so cookie cutter, it's almost a crime. You start off with level 1 armor and a level 1 sword, and can almost immediately buy level 2 upgrades from the shop in the starting town. Later on in the game, there are level 3 upgrades, and then you have the strongest arsenal. Or maybe there's a secret island that has some stronger ones? I wouldn't know about such things. Magic spells come in the form of items or scrolls that you also buy from the shop, and the only other items in-game are potions or hearts used to replenish your health. Leveling up is simply a matter of gaining enough XP and increases all your stats in a formulaic way. You don't learn any new skills or spells as you get stronger, but you'll have more HP and attack power. If you die in-game, it's not game over, but you lose half your money and return to the castle where you started the game from. Honestly though, that rarely happens if you're just sensible. The combat system is one of the simplest I've ever seen. Fights are always 1 versus 1, as in Will versus whichever monster he stumbled upon. The way the battles work revolves around these 4 sword techniques that you know from the beginning: Swallow, Falcon, Seagull, and Eagle. And like I say, you never learn new ones. Each monster has a particular weakness, sometimes 2, as if Will is penetrating different parts with different strokes, so once you learn which move works against which enemy, then the battles are an absolute doddle. This is kinda how Pokemon does it, I know, but those games' system is much more involved. You learn new techniques as your creatures get stronger, and at least the type bonuses, it's super effective, make a certain kind of sense, like how water puts out fire and so on. Here, there's basically no rhyme or reason to strengths and weaknesses, you just have to know that a Bleeb is weak to Seagull, and a Funky Orc to Falcon, and so on. Another thing that makes the game slightly too easy is that inns will only ever charge you 10 gold to replenish your health. It's not one of these affairs where your HP is considered. Pretty soon you'll get more than 10 gold for killing one enemy, so as long as you don't push your luck, you should never die and never spend more than you earn in inns. There is something like 20 to 25 areas in the game, as well as dungeons within some of these areas. Each one has a pre-arranged bunch of monsters wandering around, and when you kill one of them, it's gone until you leave the screen and come back on it. This way, you can easily kill 2 or 3 easy ones, leave and heal, and come back. There are no random encounters as you can see all the enemies straight away. Everything you can see looks professionally put together. The monsters are menacing while retaining a sort of anime charm, and while the tiles are not hugely varied, they still look pretty nice. The battle animations are a little drawn out, and you'll no doubt find them tedious after a short while. The music is short but sweet. Not all battles have the same tune over and over again, it seems to be monster specific. Overall, the presentation is quite enjoyable and won't grate on the player too much. Neither will the game, really. There's not a great challenge. It's a very linear adventure, with 6 or so quests given to you by the king in a specific order, all of which revolve around getting to a cave, dungeon, or tower, working your way to the heart, and killing some such goblin or witch. There are 1 or 2 little sidetrack things, such as having to find a key before you can open doors in this mansion, but it's literally 1 screen over, and will take you about 1.5 minutes to find it. This is not a bad game at all. I know I've been a little hard on it, but you have to appreciate the strength of the RPG library on the Game Boy, and Night Quest is tough to put in the same league as some of the wonderful titles that are so dear to my heart. Still, it's fun for the 3 hours it'll take to beat it. Whether you'll want to repeat the experience, I don't know. Good if you're hungover or sick or something. Thanks so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts on the game down below, and if you can spare a second, give the review a quick thumbs up, it really helps out. Subscribe to the Portable Power Podcast for a new Game Boy review every day from Monday to Friday. Or alternately, new episodes of the podcast drop every Saturday and Sunday on whichever platform you get your pods. See you later on.